All right. Yeah. So, hello, Amanda. This is Nadia. It's been nice talking to you through email and now to finally be able to see you on camera. So, I'm excited to hear your stories about studying overseas. So, before we go any further with your stories and your exciting experiences, can you let me know more about yourself, where you come from, and also where you studied before?
Well, I'm Brazilian and I have been in Peru, was the first place that I was abroad. Then I went to Chile and Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always liked to meet different people, to be in different places, to discover new places. And I've always wanted to do that, but I was very insecure about studying in my first time. And then the first time that I went, I was like, I want to do it again and again and again because I think that I really challenged myself and I discovered that I could do things that I thought I couldn't. And I think it's a very rich experience, because you
Hello?
feel strong on the little things.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's kind of addicting. You go once and you just like, oh, I can't wait for my next experience, and you just keep planning and excited and dreaming about your next time, and then you have a next time and you're like, oh my god, this was amazing, and you feel like you're discovering an entire new world every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree with you. So, what did you study back in Peru and also Chile?
It was Spanish. It was a language course because it was my first time and I wasn't feeling secure to do something like university and anything. As I told you, I discovered that I could do things that I
Yeah.
think I could do, and I was like, this is gonna be very hard. I was very shy then and I was insecure about talking to people. And there's a funny story because the first time that I got there are a lot of people talking, people who have studied abroad before,
Yeah.
they're chilling and everything. And I was like just looking at them at like, oh, should I say something? Are they gonna understand what I'm saying? Should I try? Should I not? And a girl came to talk to me, and it was funny because she didn't ask how fluent I was in the language. She didn't want to know if I was talking perfectly. I'm sure that I made a lot of mistakes that time, but she just didn't care, and she was so natural, so welcoming to me. She just started talking to me, and I was answering her questions, and like we started a conversation. That for me it was like I was frozen when I got there. If she hadn't talked to me, I don't know what I would have done then. But it was very nice because after this first experience, I felt more open, more welcome to talk to other people, and I was like, okay, I can have a conversation and I'm going to make mistakes, but that's part of the process. I'm here to learn, and there's something that she told me after we spent a very long time talking that like you're trying to speak a different language. You are already having the onus of communication
Yeah.
because you're trying. So it doesn't matter if you make one mistake or two, you're learning in the process. The important thing is that you're trying, and that's how you learn. And this was very, I think, the way that she approached me, it was very important for me to realize that I was very frozen, I was very shy,
Yeah.
and she just didn't care. She just came and she started talking, and she was very talkative, and she was just talking all the time, and it kind of breaking my bars that time. I was like, okay, I can do that. I can have a conversation, and if I can have a conversation with her, I can have a conversation with other people. So I think this first experience was very important for me in that sense.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I'm happy that that girl approaches you. Otherwise, you, because I think, yeah, a lot of times it's like it's just our own insecurities that blocks us, especially when speaking foreign languages. Maybe we're not confident enough to speak and also to use the language itself. And like, we're just thinking, like overthinking it. It's too
Mhm.
much, right? Yeah, that happens. All right. So, how was your first experiences in Peru and also Chile? I mean, aside from you were being shy the first time you were there and all, how was the overall experiences? Like, was there any culture shock or any Anything that happens in particular when you were there?
Yes, we are there in like a hosting place that was it had a convenient with the language school that we were.
Right.
So we were out together, a group, but I was like the only girl living from my city. So when I get there, I was like on my own, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's probably why I was very shy. And it was a very short time because, as I told you, I wasn't feeling very confident, you know, to say, oh, I'm going to be here for a month. It was my first time. So I was like, I'm just going to take this little step and see how it goes. So I was there for 15 days. It was a very short time, but it was very important for me to meet new people and to feel what it's like to live in another
Yeah.
language. Well, because when you take a course in your country, you're like in a school for 2 hours, and when you leave this environment, you kind of leave the language,
Yeah, I
you
agree.
know, because you're no longer
Yeah.
involved with anybody. Like you don't go to the market to speak in a foreign
Yeah,
language. You
exactly.
know, when you are abroad, you know, you have that little time, of course, but you need to live, you need to buy food, you need to talk to people. So you are already living in
Yeah.
that language, and that make a huge difference. So even if it was a little time, it was like a mind changing experience. And living the entire time like in another language was everything in Spanish every day, every time. When I left Peru, I was already feeling very, very different in the sense that many things from the course that I took, like in this school, the grammar, for example, was stuff that I already knew here in Brazil,
Yeah.
so it didn't make much difference. But talking and listening to other people, it was like mind blowing, you know, because it was nothing like in my school here. So there was no comparison.
Hmm.
So that's why I decided to spend more time in Chile. And I went to Chile a year after I was in Peru in 2018.
Okay.
In 2019, I went to Chile. It's still to study Spanish because that time I wanted to get a certificate. I wanted to practice more, you know, to speak more because I was still very, unconfident about how
Yeah.
fluent I was in the language. So it was a month in the Pontifícia Universidade Católica do Chile, and it was very a little bit more focused on the grammar skills and more those skills directed to taking my certificate. And it was very nice. I love the city. I think I liked it a little bit more than I like Peru in that sense because I was in Santiago and it was very it's like a cosmopolitan city. You know, you have a lot of things to do. And I also felt very free and a little bit more secure to walk around by myself. It's a very secure city. It's very nice. I also went to ski for the first time.
Oh,
I saw snow for the first time. So I could do a lot of activities like that. And I felt more free. I felt more confident.
yeah.
You know, I made friends there. I could walk by myself. I was not attached to, like, I took the course and I had friends there for the school, but I was not, I didn't feel limited by them. You know,
Yeah.
I was very nice. I visited museums by myself. I visited I visited parks by myself. I was alone a lot of time because I like to do that. You know, I like to feel that I'm discovering the city. For me, this is a very, very uh, important part.
Yes.
And it's like it's what makes me feel free, you know, and feeling able to do this in Santiago was very, very wonderful.
Hmm. Awesome. So you were there in Peru in 2018 for 15 days, and then in
Yeah,
Chile in 2019 for how long?
a month.
A month. Okay, that's nice. So there are like many other Spanish-speaking countries. So I'm also curious, like why specifically you choose Peru and Chile to pursue your Spanish language program?
I've always felt like I like to speak Spanish. No, I enjoy it. It's something
Yeah.
that I enjoy. Like I started learning English because my parents they pushed me into this. You know, especially my mom. She was like, "Oh, everyone speaks English. You
Yeah.
need to do it. Like, it's a skill that you need to have." You know, and I'm very grateful for her for that. because it does make a difference in my life,
Yeah,
especially like now that I'm working. But it's not something that I love to do, especially because I started to learn English when I was very young. So she really had to push me there. I was like, I don't want to go. I don't like this. It was not very interesting to me. And I don't know if it's because we have something here. In Latin America, Brazil is the only country that speaks Portuguese. All the other countries speak Spanish.
yeah,
And I don't know why, but I always I enjoy Spanish music. I like Spanish artists, and I like sports very much. And I support Barcelona. They're Catalan, but they speak Spanish also. And I always had much more cultural affinity for the Spanish language. So I enjoy listening. The way that it sounds, it's nice. And I started to learn by myself before taking course here in Brazil, and that makes me want to do something like this. And it was also something that it was better for me to afford, because if I was supposed to go to a country that speaks only English, not that is Canada, of course, that is Australia now, but it's especially you think first thing that you think is the United States, and the currency would be very expensive for me as well.
yeah,
And I was like, okay, I like Spanish better, so and it's financially for me, it's a better option. So I'm gonna start here nearby in Latin America with the countries that I can do it. And then when I feel more prepared to do something in English, and also when I have more financial, uh, more money, I can do for something in English, and that's also what I'm planning my next time.
oh, yeah, sure. So another thing that I'm curious to know is, what do you think, like all the benefits, after spending 2 weeks in Peru and also a month in Chile for your Spanish language program? So what do you think are the benefits that you gain from being able to study overseas?
I think it's to challenge myself, And as I told you first, I had to be there to discover that I could
Yeah,
actually do it. Because it's a very, very, very different experience. You're taking a course on your city and you like it. Like if you put it on your resume, okay, I have fluent Spanish. Fine, you can write an email, you can be very
yeah,
nice. But it's very different when you're living in this language. It's a
yeah,
different experience. And as I told you, I had to be there to figure out that I could actually do that. If I think if I have not studied abroad, I'll not be having this interview with you right now.
yeah, for sure.
Because I was probably like, okay, I don't know how to speak it, how to have full conversation with somebody else, and that gave me confidence, that gave me courage, and even courage to try. You know, like I told you, that first girl that I met was like my first friend that I had to speak all the time in a foreign language. She gave me the confidence to think that it doesn't matter if I make one mistake, it doesn't matter if I make like 100 mistakes. I need to try and I need to keep embracing my mistakes. Otherwise, I'm never going to improve.
Yeah,
And this is an experience that if I wasn't there, if I was like stuck here in the traditional schools and my culture, I'll never have think for that side, and probably I'll never have tried, because as I told you, it's the way that you can run away from speaking when you
yeah,
are abroad. You have to, like, even if you have to ask for an Uber, you're gonna have to talk to him. It doesn't matter. You can just be quiet your entire trip, and the way that this experience pushes you to try, even if you're uncomfortable, you're totally leaving your comfort zone. Even if you think, okay, I'm going here to a school and it's going to be everything settled, I have a place to stay, I have transport, but you're going to have to push yourself, even if you think you don't. And this gave me confidence. It gave me courage to try, not only in Spanish, but also to try to speak more, to be more kind to myself in the matter of thinking, fine, I'm going to make mistakes, but I need to make them.
yeah,
Otherwise, I'm not going to improve.
yeah, yeah. I completely agree with that. I mean, I learn foreign languages as well. One of the things that I learn is Mandarin, and I guess it's one of the hardest, the toughest language ever. Yeah, and then just like what you said, learning it here back home in Indonesia, it gives me a whole different experience. So you spend a couple of hours at class, and then once you go home, nobody use the foreign language anymore. And then once you are there in China, it's like so different because back home you thought that I should be able to speak to people there, but once you finally arrive, you feel like I don't even know the language, like I don't even understand. And it's like all this overthinking that makes you scared to go out and just to talk to people. I think that kills you as well, because you're not going to grow if you keep on hiding like that. So I think learning languages has been something that is quite popular and interesting to do. A lot of people, I think, are doing it, and then it's getting more and more important to be able to fluent in more than just one language, because the world is more connected and all. And seeing that you are very passionate with learning foreign language, do you have any specific tips for other students who are in pursuit of learning foreign language?
I think you should try, because when you learn, even if you think like, oh, I don't know this very well, I'm not as fluent as I think I was, you have to try because you discover an entire new
Yeah,
world. And it's a very rewarding experience, when you feel like you're not capable of doing it, and then eventually you're going to see how you're doing it. And for me, that's what is more important about going abroad, because if you're in your house, you're always gonna think, okay, I have this level, it's fine, it's good, I can read, I can sing a song.
yeah,
But it's very different when you are like immersed in another place. Because I think the first feeling it's like I don't know. No, you're just there and everybody's chatting, everybody's talking, and you're just like, okay, I thought I knew it, but I don't know.
yeah,
And eventually to talk to someone. And you're like, okay, no, I know. I can do it. Even if I make mistakes, I can do it. So I think a tip that I would give is if you have the chance of going abroad, go, because it's very, very different there in your country. And if your first step it is, I need to learn here in my country, do it as well, because you have new perspectives from the world. And I think it gives me the feeling of freedom, you know, okay, I'm learning a new language. I feel free, to travel by myself. I don't need to go to an agency. I don't need to wait for my friends. I don't need to wait for my family or for someone to come with me. It just opens your possibilities in so many ways. You start to do things and you realize that there is an entire world for you to
yeah.
discover. So it is a rewarding experience. I think everyone should know at least a second language.
Definitely, definitely. I think it's getting more and more important as well these days, and it gives so much value, something that you don't even realize. Right. So finally, my last question would be: I know you have such an amazing experiences with studying overseas and all, but there are also students who are still struggling, or like they are still debating whether or not they should go to other countries for studies. Do you have any tips for them? Like, what do you think are the very first thing that they should prepare if they're thinking about going somewhere for studies? And you can also answer this in Spanish as well. So all the Spanish viewers can also benefit from your tips.
I think you should never wait for the right time because there is no right time. So, I mean, just don't wait until you're ready because you're never going to be ready until you're there. So if you're thinking, if you're planning, if you consider this possibility, and if you're like, okay, I am financially prepared, I can, make this effort, or even if you have this big dream and you're like, okay, I don't have enough money to do it, but I can start saving up so I can do it in a year. So start to prepare yourself right now. Don't wait until you have better
Yeah,
conditions, but do your best in the conditions you have. I think this is what everybody should do it. And if you are have these conditions, just don't overthink. That's something that I did a lot. You know, so just don't overthink. Just embrace the opportunity when it shows up. If you're like consider the possibilities, but if you're insecure, don't wait until you have a friend to go with you because it is very difficult too. to happen. You know, I see a lot of people, especially teenagers,
Yeah.
they start planning in high school. Okay, like when you get that age, you can go together. But it almost never works out like this, So if you have the chance, if you have the opportunity, and if you have the desire, don't wait until you feel totally prepared because time does not exist, and I think you should just go. Don't overthink. And if you don't have conditions to go, but it's like a dream, it's a wish, just start to prepare yourself in the little things. You don't have to wait until you have like much money, but if you don't start to prepare yourself now, you're never gonna have enough.
Yeah.
So save your little things. If you like, you think oh, in a year I can do that. So you start to do your little savings, you start to prepare. I'm sure you're gonna find a program that fits your conditions. If you can go to another continent, you can start by a country that is closer to yours.
Yeah.
And it's still going to be a very great experience. So I think that's what everyone should consider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think that is a one strong statement from you. Do your best in the condition that you have. So I think that is very, very important. That's such a great reminder for everyone to always do your best, to never wait until you find your moment because, you just have to keep working on it.
Yes, and that's something that a friend told me once. She's like, the world's not going to stop for you
Yeah.
to realize your dreams.
Yeah.
It's not going to stop for your dreams to come true because there's a lot of other people there.
Yeah.
So there's never going to be perfect conditions for you to live your perfect life. Things are never going to be in that perfect line where everything is going to work good for you. So you need to do your best on the conditions you have, until you have better conditions. And as you're improving in life, and I think it goes for every aspect of your life. You know, when you're always trying to do your best, you're always gonna reach better
Yeah.
conditions.
I
It
agree.
goes for everything, but you need to keep pushing yourself, even when the world's not perfect. Otherwise, it's not good.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, if you are doing your best, right, all of your hard work and efforts and everything, you will also get like the best outcome in
Yeah.
the end. Okay, so I think that's all from me, Amanda. It's been really, really nice talking to you and hear your amazing experiences in Peru and Chile and your motivations as well for other viewers. So it's been great having you so far for this interview. Thank you so much for taking a part in this interview. And yeah, keep in touch and have a nice day.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. I also enjoy very much talking to you. So have a nice day, you too.
Bye, Amanda. Bye.
Bye bye.